Welcome, seekers of wisdom. Today, we delve into a paradox. How can something as virtuous as kindness lead to your downfall? In a world that often feels harsh and unforgiving, kindness is a beacon of hope. But, as the Stoics taught us, even virtues must be practiced with wisdom and balance. In this video, we explore 11 ways excessive kindness can quickly ruin your life, according to Stoic principles. Number 1. Neglecting self-care. Neglecting self-care is one of the most detrimental consequences of excessive kindness. From a Stoic perspective, maintaining a balance between helping others and taking care of oneself is crucial. The Stoics, including Marcus Aurelius, emphasized the importance of self-discipline and self-awareness. They believed that one must first achieve inner harmony to be truly effective in assisting others. Neglecting self-care disrupts this balance, leading to burnout and a diminished capacity to contribute meaningfully to the lives of those around you. Imagine Tina, a dedicated nurse who embodies kindness. She works long hours, often volunteering for extra shifts to cover for her colleagues. Tina's patients adore her, and her colleagues admire her dedication. However, beneath her seemingly unbreakable exterior, Tina is struggling. She rarely takes breaks, skips meals, and forgoes sleep to ensure that her patients receive the best care possible. She believes that her sacrifices are necessary and virtuous, aligning with her values of compassion and service. At first glance, Tina's actions seem commendable, but they mask a deeper issue. By constantly prioritizing others' needs over her own, Tina is neglecting her self-care. This imbalance is unsustainable. The Stoic principle of self-discipline teaches that one must maintain their physical and mental health to serve others effectively. Tina's relentless dedication, while noble, is eroding her well-being. She begins to experience chronic fatigue, irritability, and a sense of overwhelming stress. Her performance at work starts to decline, and she finds it increasingly difficult to provide the high level of care she once did. The turning point comes when Tina collapses at work due to exhaustion. Her body has finally reached its limit, forcing her to confront the consequences of her excessive kindness. During her recovery, she reflects on her approach and realizes that her neglect of self-care has not only harmed her but also diminished her ability to care for her patients. This moment of clarity is pivotal. Tina understands that true kindness must include kindness towards oneself. Inspired by Stoic teachings, Tina decides to implement changes in her life. She begins to set boundaries at work, ensuring she takes regular breaks and gets enough rest. She starts practicing mindfulness and meditation, embracing the Stoic practice of daily reflection. Tina learns to say no when necessary, understanding that doing so is not a sign of selfishness but a necessary step to preserve her well-being. As Tina's self-care improves, so does her capacity to help others. She becomes more focused, energetic, and resilient. Her interactions with patients and colleagues are more positive and effective. By prioritizing her health, Tina exemplifies the Stoic ideal of maintaining inner harmony to better serve the world. Tina's story illustrates a fundamental Stoic lesson. Excessive kindness that leads to self-neglect is ultimately counterproductive. True kindness requires a balance between serving others and caring for oneself. By neglecting self-care, we not only harm ourselves but also compromise our ability to be genuinely kind and helpful to others. The Stoics remind us that we must cultivate our well-being to sustain our capacity for kindness and compassion. Through this balance, we achieve a more profound and lasting impact on the world around us. Number 2. Enabling bad behavior. Excessive kindness, while often well-intentioned, can inadvertently enable bad behavior in others, creating a cycle that is detrimental to both parties involved. From a Stoic perspective, true kindness is not about indulgence or permissiveness but about fostering virtuous character and promoting justice. The Stoics believed in the importance of wisdom and discernment in all interactions, ensuring that our actions support the development of virtue in ourselves and others. One of the core tenets of Stoicism is the pursuit of wisdom, which includes understanding the nature of human behavior and the consequences of our actions. When kindness is applied without discernment, it can become a form of enabling, allowing others to persist in harmful behaviors without facing the natural consequences of their actions. This kind of misguided kindness undermines the Stoic principles of justice and personal responsibility. Justice, according to the Stoics, is about giving each person their due and ensuring that our actions contribute to the common good. Enabling bad behavior through excessive kindness violates this principle by creating an environment where negative actions go unchecked. When individuals do not experience the repercussions of their actions, they are less likely to reflect on their behavior and make necessary changes. This lack of accountability perpetuates a cycle of harm that affects both the individual and the broader community. Moreover, the Stoics emphasize the importance of personal responsibility and self-discipline. By enabling bad behavior, we deny others the opportunity to develop these essential virtues. When we shield individuals from the consequences of their actions, we impede their growth and prevent them from learning valuable lessons. This is not true kindness, but a form of harm that stunts their moral and personal development. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught that we should be careful about the assistance we provide, ensuring that it does not foster dependency or weakness. He emphasized the need for discernment, urging us to consider whether our actions genuinely benefit the recipient in the long term. Excessive kindness that enables bad behavior fails this test, as it does not contribute to the recipient's growth or well-being. Instead, it creates a dependency that is antithetical to the Stoic ideal of fostering self-reliance and virtue. Furthermore, enabling bad behavior through excessive kindness can have a corrosive effect on our own character. The Stoics believed in the interconnectedness of virtue, where our actions influence not only others but also our own moral development. By allowing and excusing harmful behaviors, we compromise our integrity and stray from the path of virtue. This erosion of character can lead to feelings of resentment, frustration, and guilt, as we recognize the negative impact of our misguided kindness. To align with Stoic principles, kindness must be guided by wisdom and justice. It requires us to be mindful of the long-term effects of our actions and to prioritize the development of virtue in ourselves and others. This means being willing to set boundaries, hold people accountable, and sometimes say no when necessary. True kindness is about supporting the growth and well-being of others, which often involves allowing them to face the consequences of their actions. In practice, this Stoic approach to kindness might seem harsh or unfeeling, but it is rooted in a deep respect for the potential of each individual to grow and improve. By fostering an environment where personal responsibility and accountability are emphasized, we encourage others to develop the virtues necessary for a fulfilling and meaningful life. This is the essence of Stoic kindness, a commitment to helping others achieve their highest potential, even when it requires difficult conversations and tough love. In conclusion, excessive kindness that enables bad behavior is a deviation from true Stoic virtue. It undermines justice, impedes personal growth, and erodes our own character. By embracing the Stoic principles of wisdom, justice, and personal responsibility, we can practice a form of kindness that truly benefits others and promotes a virtuous and harmonious society. Number 3. Loss of personal boundaries. One of the profound consequences of excessive kindness is the erosion of personal boundaries. From a Stoic perspective, maintaining personal boundaries is essential for living a virtuous and fulfilling life. The Stoics emphasize the importance of self-control, wisdom, and the recognition of what is within our control and what is not. When we fail to establish and uphold personal boundaries, we not only compromise our own well-being but also diminish our capacity to interact with others in a meaningful and balanced way. Imagine John, a diligent employee who is always willing to help his colleagues. His kindness is well known in the office, he never says no to any request for assistance, even if it means working late or sacrificing his weekends. John's colleagues frequently ask him to cover their shifts, handle their projects, or offer advice on personal matters. While John believes he is being a good friend and colleague by always being available, he is, in fact, losing sight of his own needs and boundaries. At first, John's willingness to help is appreciated by his colleagues. They see him as reliable and generous. However, as time goes on, the requests for his time and energy increase. John begins to feel overwhelmed and exhausted, but he continues to say yes, fearing that setting boundaries would make him appear unkind or uncooperative. This constant state of giving without regard for his own limits leads to burnout. He becomes less effective at work, his stress levels soar, and his personal life begins to suffer. The Stoic philosopher Seneca emphasized the importance of self-awareness and self-discipline. He taught that we must guard our time and energy carefully, as they are limited resources. By failing to establish personal boundaries, John is not practicing true Stoic kindness. Instead, he is allowing himself to be depleted and, as a result, becomes less capable of offering genuine help. John's situation illustrates a key Stoic principle: understanding what is within our control. Our ability to set and maintain personal boundaries is within our control, while others' reactions to those boundaries are not. By trying to please everyone and saying yes to all requests, John is attempting to control others' perceptions and avoid potential conflicts, which is ultimately a futile endeavor. The Stoics remind us that we cannot control how others respond to our boundaries, but we can control our decision to establish and uphold them. As John's health and well-being decline, he reaches a breaking point. He realizes that his excessive kindness and lack of boundaries are not sustainable. Inspired by Stoic teachings, John decides to make a change. He starts by reflecting on his values and priorities, recognizing that he must first take care of himself to be truly effective in helping others. He learns to say no politely but firmly, understanding that setting boundaries is a form of self-respect and self-care. For example, when a colleague asks John to take on an additional project, he evaluates his current workload and recognizes that accepting this task would compromise his ability to complete his existing responsibilities. Instead of saying yes out of a misplaced sense of kindness, John responds with, "I would love to help, but I am currently at capacity with my workload. Perhaps we can find another solution together." This approach maintains his boundaries while still offering support in a constructive way. As John becomes more adept at setting boundaries, he notices a significant improvement in his overall well-being. He feels more energized, focused, and capable of delivering high-quality work. His colleagues, initially surprised by his newfound assertiveness, come to respect his boundaries and begin to manage their own tasks more independently. The overall dynamic in the office improves as everyone learns to take more responsibility for their own work. In conclusion, the loss of personal boundaries due to excessive kindness is a significant issue that can lead to burnout and diminished effectiveness. From a Stoic perspective, maintaining boundaries is crucial for living a balanced and virtuous life. By understanding what is within our control and practicing self-discipline, we can establish boundaries that protect our well-being and enhance our ability to help others meaningfully. John's journey illustrates the transformative power of setting personal boundaries, ultimately leading to a more harmonious and fulfilling life. Number 4. Ignoring justice. In the Stoic framework, justice is one of the cardinal virtues, alongside wisdom, courage, and temperance. It represents fairness, equity, and the appropriate allocation of resources and responsibilities. Excessive kindness, however, can lead to an erosion of justice, as it may cause us to overlook the necessity of holding people accountable for their actions. From a Stoic perspective, true kindness does not ignore the principles of justice but upholds them to foster a balanced and harmonious society. The Stoics believe that justice is fundamental to maintaining order and virtue within a community. When we allow excessive kindness to cloud our judgment, we risk creating an environment where fairness is compromised. This can lead to a situation where individuals are not held accountable for their actions, which undermines the moral fabric of society. Justice demands that we treat others with fairness and integrity, ensuring that everyone is subject to the same standards and consequences. Excessive kindness can manifest in various ways, such as constantly forgiving harmful behavior without requiring any form of restitution or change. This misplaced kindness can send a message that negative actions have no consequences, which can embolden individuals to continue their detrimental behavior. The Stoics would argue that this is not true kindness, as it fails to address the root of the problem and ultimately harms both the individual and the community. To the Stoics, justice is not about punishment but about correction and improvement. When someone behaves unjustly, it is our duty to address the behavior in a way that promotes growth and learning. Excessive kindness that avoids confrontation and accountability deprives individuals of the opportunity to reflect on their actions and make necessary changes. This avoidance is a disservice to the individual's potential for growth and the community's well-being. Furthermore, ignoring justice in the name of kindness can lead to resentment and imbalance within a community. When people see that harmful actions are tolerated without consequence, it can create a sense of injustice and inequality. Those who strive to live virtuously may feel demotivated if they perceive that their efforts are not recognized or valued. The Stoics would argue that a just society is one where everyone is encouraged to act virtuously, and this requires a consistent application of justice. Incorporating justice into our acts of kindness involves a thoughtful balance between compassion and accountability. The Stoics believed in using reason to guide our actions, ensuring that our kindness does not come at the expense of fairness. This means being willing to have difficult conversations, set boundaries, and enforce consequences when necessary. By doing so, we uphold the principles of justice and contribute to the moral development of ourselves and others. Moreover, the Stoic commitment to justice extends to self-justice. We must be fair to ourselves, recognizing our own needs and limits. Excessive kindness can sometimes stem from a desire to be seen as virtuous or to avoid conflict. However, true Stoic virtue is not about external validation but about inner moral integrity. Practicing justice towards ourselves involves acknowledging our right to set boundaries and maintain our well-being, which ultimately enhances our capacity to serve others effectively. In the Stoic view, justice is intertwined with the concept of the common good. By ensuring that our actions are fair and just, we contribute to a society where individuals can thrive and live virtuously. This holistic approach to kindness recognizes that promoting justice is an integral part of fostering a healthy and balanced community. In conclusion, ignoring justice in the pursuit of excessive kindness is a deviation from true Stoic virtue. Justice requires us to hold ourselves and others accountable, ensuring that our actions promote fairness and growth. By integrating the principles of justice into our acts of kindness, we uphold the Stoic ideals of wisdom, courage, and integrity, contributing to a more virtuous and harmonious society. Number 5. Creating dependence. Excessive kindness, though rooted in good intentions, can inadvertently lead to dependence, stunting the growth of those we seek to help. From the standpoint of Stoicism, fostering resilience and self-reliance in others is crucial. The Stoic way emphasizes empowering individuals rather than making them reliant on external aid. Imagine Maria, a compassionate and diligent manager. Her commitment to her team is evident in her readiness to assist with any issue, large or small. Whenever a team member struggles, Maria is quick to step in, offering solutions and often taking on the tasks herself to ensure everything runs smoothly. To Maria, this is an expression of her care and support. At first, this approach seems beneficial. Her team feels secure knowing they can rely on her, and work gets done efficiently. However, as time passes, Maria notices a worrying trend. her team becomes increasingly dependent on her for solutions, even for minor issues. Instead of tackling problems on their own, they instinctively turn to her. Consequently, Maria finds herself overwhelmed, handling her own responsibilities along with those of her team, leading to burnout and growing frustration. From a Stoic perspective, Maria's excessive kindness has created a dependency that is harmful to both her and her team. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, taught the importance of self-reliance and personal growth. By constantly intervening, Maria has unintentionally stifled her team's development, depriving them of opportunities to learn and grow. Her actions, although kind in intention, have resulted in an unsustainable dynamic that hinders progress. In the Stoic tradition, true kindness is about empowering others to achieve their potential. It involves fostering the virtues of wisdom, courage, and self-discipline. Recognizing the need for change, Maria decides to shift her approach to align with these principles. She starts by setting clear expectations, encouraging her team to take ownership of their tasks and responsibilities. Instead of offering immediate solutions, she poses questions that guide her team members to think critically and develop their own answers. For example, when faced with a challenge, Maria might ask, "What strategies have you considered?" or "How might you solve this problem?" This change is initially met with resistance. Her team, accustomed to her hands-on approach, struggles to adjust. But Maria remains steadfast, providing support and guidance without taking over. Gradually, her team begins to develop the skills and confidence needed to handle problems independently. They learn to navigate challenges on their own and only seek Maria's input when necessary. Maria's transformation is a powerful illustration of Stoic principles in action. By fostering an environment that encourages self-reliance and problem-solving, she helps her team grow stronger and more capable. This not only alleviates her own burden but also cultivates a more resilient and effective team. In Stoicism, the highest form of kindness is one that empowers others and promotes their growth. By enabling her team to develop their own resilience, Maria aligns her actions with the Stoic ideals of wisdom and justice. Her team members, in turn, experience greater job satisfaction and a sense of achievement, leading to a more harmonious and productive workplace. Ultimately, creating dependence through excessive kindness is a well-intentioned mistake. From a Stoic perspective, true kindness involves nurturing the strengths and capabilities of others, encouraging them to become self-reliant and resilient. Maria's journey underscores the importance of balancing support with empowerment, demonstrating that the most profound acts of kindness are those that help others stand on their own. This approach ensures that our actions are genuinely beneficial, fostering growth and well-being for all. Number 6. Loss of authenticity. In Stoic philosophy, authenticity is deeply tied to the practice of virtue and living in accordance with one's true nature. Excessive kindness, when it becomes a facade or a habitual response to avoid conflict, can lead to a loss of authenticity. The Stoics emphasized the importance of integrity and being true to oneself, and they warned against the dangers of pretense and insincerity. When our actions are not aligned with our true feelings and beliefs, we compromise our moral character and the quality of our relationships. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught that we should strive to align our actions with our principles. This means acting in ways that reflect our true values, even when it is difficult. Excessive kindness, particularly when it involves suppressing our true thoughts and feelings to maintain harmony or avoid disapproval, is a form of dishonesty. It creates a disconnect between our internal state and our external behavior, which the Stoics believed was detrimental to both personal integrity and genuine human connection. When we prioritize being kind at the expense of being authentic, we risk falling into the trap of people-pleasing. This behavior can stem from a desire to be liked or accepted, but it ultimately undermines our sense of self. According to Stoicism, our self-worth should not depend on external validation but on our adherence to virtue and our inner moral compass. By constantly seeking to please others, we allow our actions to be dictated by external expectations rather than our own values and judgments. Moreover, the Stoics believe that living authentically is crucial for achieving inner peace and tranquility. When we act in ways that are incongruent with our true selves, we experience inner conflict and turmoil. This dissonance can lead to feelings of resentment, frustration, and dissatisfaction. On the other hand, when we are true to ourselves and our values, we cultivate a sense of inner harmony and contentment. This alignment between our beliefs and actions is a cornerstone of Stoic well-being. In addition to its impact on personal integrity, a lack of authenticity can harm our relationships with others. Genuine connections are built on honesty and mutual respect. When we hide our true feelings or go along with things that do not align with our values, we create superficial relationships based on false premises. This can lead to misunderstandings, disappointment, and a lack of trust. The Stoics valued truth and transparency in relationships, believing that these qualities are essential for deep and meaningful connections. Furthermore, the practice of excessive kindness can sometimes lead to enabling behaviors that are not virtuous. By avoiding difficult conversations or failing to set necessary boundaries, we may inadvertently support actions or patterns that are harmful to others. The Stoic virtue of justice requires us to be fair and truthful, even when it is uncomfortable. This means addressing issues honestly and holding ourselves and others accountable to ethical standards. In Stoicism, the concept of eudaimonia, often translated as flourishing or living well, is central. Achieving eudaimonia involves living in accordance with reason and virtue, and this includes being authentic. The Stoics believe that each person has a unique role in nature, and fulfilling this nature authentically is key to a fulfilling life. By being true to ourselves, we not only live more virtuously but also inspire others to do the same. Ultimately, excessive kindness that leads to a loss of authenticity is a deviation from Stoic principles. True kindness is not about always being agreeable or avoiding conflict, but about acting with integrity and in accordance with our values. By embracing authenticity, we honor our true selves, build genuine relationships, and contribute to a more virtuous and just society. In doing so, we align with the Stoic ideal of living a life of virtue and inner peace. Number 7. Imbalance in relationships. Excessive kindness can create an imbalance in relationships, where one person gives significantly more than they receive. From a Stoic perspective, relationships should be based on mutual respect, fairness, and the shared pursuit of virtue. When kindness becomes one-sided, it undermines these foundational principles, leading to resentment and dissatisfaction. The Stoics, particularly Seneca, emphasized the importance of reciprocity and balance in human interactions. They believe that a healthy relationship is a partnership where both parties contribute and benefit equally. Excessive kindness that results in an imbalance disrupts this equilibrium. It places undue strain on the giver, who may feel overburdened and underappreciated, while the recipient may become dependent or take the giver's generosity for granted. In Stoic philosophy, the concept of sympathia, the interconnectedness of all human beings, underscores the need for balance in relationships. This interconnectedness implies that our actions affect not only ourselves but also those around us. By consistently prioritizing others' needs over our own, we disrupt this natural harmony. The Stoics taught that we should strive to live in accordance with nature, which includes maintaining balanced and equitable relationships. Moreover, the Stoics valued justice as a cardinal virtue. Justice in relationships means treating others fairly and ensuring that our interactions are based on mutual respect and consideration. When kindness becomes excessive and one-sided, it can lead to injustice, where one person's needs and well-being are consistently sacrificed for the sake of the other. This is not true Stoic kindness, which seeks to promote the common good and the flourishing of all individuals involved. A key aspect of Stoic thought is the importance of self-respect and self-care. the Stoics believe that we must first take care of ourselves to be truly effective in helping others. This includes setting boundaries and ensuring that our own needs are met. Excessive kindness that leads to an imbalance in relationships often stems from a lack of self-respect and an overemphasis on pleasing others. By neglecting our own well-being, we compromise our ability to live virtuously and to contribute meaningfully to our relationships. In practical terms, creating balance in relationships requires honest communication and the setting of clear boundaries. The Stoics encouraged speaking truthfully and openly, even when it was difficult. This means expressing our needs and limits and being willing to say no when necessary. By doing so, we foster relationships that are based on mutual understanding and respect, rather than one-sided sacrifice. Furthermore, the Stoics believed in the development of resilience and self-sufficiency. By constantly giving without receiving, we may inadvertently foster dependence in others, preventing them from developing their own strengths and capabilities. True Stoic kindness involves supporting others in their growth and self-improvement, rather than doing everything for them. This approach not only benefits the individuals involved but also contributes to the overall harmony and balance of the relationship. Ultimately, the Stoic ideal is to cultivate relationships that are balanced, just, and based on mutual respect. Excessive kindness that leads to an imbalance undermines these principles and can result in resentment and dissatisfaction. By striving for balance and reciprocity, we honor the Stoic values of justice, self-respect, and the interconnectedness of all human beings. In conclusion, maintaining balance in relationships is essential for living a virtuous and fulfilling life, according to Stoic philosophy. Excessive kindness that creates an imbalance disrupts this harmony and can lead to negative consequences for both parties involved. By fostering mutual respect, setting boundaries, and encouraging self-sufficiency, we can cultivate relationships that are equitable, supportive, and aligned with the Stoic ideals of justice and interconnectedness. Through this approach, we not only enhance our own well-being but also contribute to the flourishing of those around us. Number 8. Ignoring your own values. Excessive kindness can sometimes lead us to compromise our own values and principles in the pursuit of pleasing others or avoiding conflict. From a Stoic perspective, maintaining fidelity to one's own values is essential for living a virtuous life. The Stoics believed that true integrity and moral character stem from unwavering adherence to one's principles, even in the face of external pressures. Consider Alex, a devoted and caring friend. Alex is known for his generosity and willingness to help others. He often goes out of his way to accommodate his friends' requests, even when they conflict with his own values. For instance, Alex has strong convictions about living a healthy lifestyle and avoiding excessive drinking. However, when his friends insist on going out for drinks and engaging in behavior that contradicts his values, Alex reluctantly joins them, fearing that refusing would make him appear unsupportive or judgmental. Initially, Alex's friends appreciate his willingness to join them, but over time, he feels increasingly uncomfortable and disconnected from his own principles. Each time he compromises his values, Alex experiences a growing sense of inner conflict and dissatisfaction. This behavior is at odds with the Stoic principle of living in harmony with one's true nature and values. According to the Stoics, our moral compass should guide our actions, not the desire for external approval or fear of disapproval. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, taught that our primary concern should be our own character and actions, rather than the opinions of others. He emphasized that true freedom and tranquility come from living in accordance with our own values and principles, rather than being swayed by external influences. By compromising his values to please his friends, Alex is sacrificing his inner peace and integrity for the sake of external validation. Moreover, the Stoics believed that each individual has a unique role in nature, and fulfilling this role authentically is key to a fulfilling life. When Alex ignores his own values to conform to his friends' expectations, he is not honoring his true self. This dissonance between his internal beliefs and external actions leads to a loss of authenticity and self-respect. The Stoics argued that maintaining integrity and being true to oneself are essential components of a virtuous and meaningful life. Furthermore, the Stoics valued courage as a cardinal virtue. Courage involves standing up for one's principles, even when it is difficult or unpopular. By consistently compromising his values, Alex is avoiding the discomfort of potential conflict or disapproval, but he is also failing to practice true Stoic courage. The Stoics would encourage Alex to assert his values respectfully and confidently, even if it means facing opposition or criticism. In practical terms, Alex can begin to realign his actions with his values by setting clear boundaries and communicating his principles to his friends. For example, he can suggest alternative activities that align with his values, such as organizing a healthy dinner or a hiking trip instead of going out for drinks. By doing so, Alex not only maintains his integrity but also offers his friends an opportunity to engage in more meaningful and healthy experiences. As Alex becomes more comfortable asserting his values, he may notice a positive shift in his relationships. True friends who respect and appreciate him will understand and support his choices, leading to deeper and more authentic connections. This alignment between his values and actions will also bring Alex a greater sense of inner peace and fulfillment, as he lives in accordance with his true self. In conclusion, ignoring one's own values in the pursuit of excessive kindness and external approval is a deviation from Stoic principles. True Stoic virtue involves maintaining integrity, living authentically, and practicing courage. By realigning our actions with our values, we honor our true selves and cultivate deeper, more meaningful relationships. Alex's journey illustrates the importance of fidelity to one's principles, demonstrating that true kindness begins with being true to oneself. This approach not only enhances our own well-being but also inspires those around us to live with greater authenticity and integrity. Number 9. Underestimating self-worth. Excessive kindness can also lead to underestimating one's self-worth, a pitfall that Stoic philosophy addresses with particular emphasis. The Stoics taught that every individual has intrinsic value and that our worth should not be determined by the opinions of others or the extent of our self-sacrifice. Instead, it should be grounded in our commitment to virtue and our inner moral compass. Stoicism places great importance on the concept of self-respect and recognizing our inherent dignity as rational beings. When we consistently prioritize others' needs over our own, we risk neglecting our self-worth and viewing ourselves as less important. This behavior can stem from a desire to be liked, accepted, or validated by others, but it ultimately undermines our sense of self and our ability to live a virtuous life. Consider the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, who taught that our value does not come from external sources but from within. He emphasized that our worth is derived from our ability to live in accordance with nature, reason, and virtue. By constantly putting others first and neglecting our own needs, we violate this principle. We become dependent on external validation, which is fleeting and unreliable, rather than cultivating a stable and resilient sense of self-worth rooted in our own values and actions. This underestimation of self-worth can lead to a range of negative consequences. For one, it can cause burnout and exhaustion as we overextend ourselves to meet others' expectations. It can also result in feelings of resentment and frustration, as we may begin to feel unappreciated and taken for granted. The Stoics would argue that this is not true kindness, as it ultimately harms both ourselves and our relationships. Genuine kindness must be balanced with self-respect and self-care. Furthermore, the Stoics believe that each individual has a unique role to play in the grand scheme of things. This role requires us to develop our own strengths and capacities, which is impossible if we constantly undervalue ourselves. By recognizing and honoring our self-worth, we can better fulfill our potential and contribute meaningfully to the world around us. In Stoic thought, the concept of eudaimonia, often translated as flourishing or living well, is central. Achieving eudaimonia involves recognizing and cultivating our intrinsic worth and living in alignment with our true nature. When we underestimate our self-worth, we impede our ability to flourish and live a fulfilling life. The Stoics encourage us to look inward and reflect on our virtues, strengths, and potential, rather than seeking validation from external sources. Practicing self-respect and acknowledging our worth also aligns with the Stoic principle of autarkia or self-sufficiency. This principle teaches that we should rely on our inner resources and virtues for our sense of well-being and fulfillment. By grounding our self-worth in our own values and actions, we become more resilient and less susceptible to the fluctuations of external approval. To cultivate a sense of self-worth in alignment with Stoic principles, we can start by setting clear boundaries and prioritizing our own needs and well-being. This does not mean becoming selfish or indifferent to others, but rather finding a balance where we can be kind and supportive without sacrificing our own dignity and worth. By doing so, we can engage in acts of kindness that are genuine and sustainable, fostering healthier and more respectful relationships. Moreover, the practice of daily reflection, as advocated by the Stoics, can help us maintain a clear sense of our worth. By regularly contemplating our actions, values, and goals, we can reinforce our commitment to living virtuously and recognizing our intrinsic value. This practice helps us stay true to ourselves and prevents us from falling into the trap of undervaluing our worth. In conclusion, underestimating self-worth as a result of excessive kindness is a deviation from Stoic principles. True Stoic virtue involves recognizing and honoring our intrinsic value, maintaining self-respect, and living in accordance with our values. By grounding our self-worth in our commitment to virtue and inner moral compass, we can cultivate a resilient and fulfilling sense of self. This approach not only enhances our own well-being but also enables us to engage in more genuine and meaningful acts of kindness. Number 10. Avoiding necessary conflict. Excessive kindness often leads to the avoidance of necessary conflict, a tendency that Stoicism robustly critiques. The Stoics believe that conflict, when approached with wisdom and virtue, is a natural and sometimes essential part of life. It is through conflict that we often encounter opportunities for growth, clarification, and the pursuit of justice. Avoiding conflict for the sake of maintaining superficial harmony undermines the Stoic ideals of courage, wisdom, and authenticity. The Stoic philosopher Seneca asserted that true peace and tranquility are not the absence of conflict but the presence of inner stability despite external turmoil. Avoiding conflict might seem like a path to peace, but it often leads to unresolved issues, festering resentment, and compromised integrity. Stoicism teaches that facing challenges directly and with a clear mind is a virtue, as it fosters personal growth and the betterment of society. When we avoid necessary conflict out of excessive kindness, we are often motivated by fear of rejection, fear of causing discomfort, or fear of disrupting harmony. However, the Stoics remind us that fear is an irrational response to situations that require our reason and courage. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, emphasizes the importance of confronting difficulties head-on, using reason to guide our actions rather than succumbing to fear. For example, consider a workplace scenario where a team member consistently fails to meet deadlines, affecting the entire team's performance. Excessive kindness might lead a manager to avoid addressing this issue directly, hoping that it will resolve itself or fearing that confrontation might harm the team members' feelings or morale. However, this avoidance allows the problem to persist, ultimately harming the team's productivity and morale. The Stoic approach would be to address the issue directly but with compassion and respect. This involves clearly communicating the impact of the missed deadlines and collaboratively finding solutions to improve the situation. By doing so, the manager not only upholds the virtue of justice, ensuring that everyone is held accountable for their actions, but also supports the team's overall well-being and productivity. The Stoics also valued the virtue of courage, which is essential in facing necessary conflicts. courage is not about the absence of fear, but the willingness to act rightly despite it. Addressing conflicts requires courage to speak the truth, to stand up for what is just, and to foster genuine understanding and resolution. By avoiding necessary conflict, we deny ourselves and others the opportunity to practice and witness true courage. Moreover, Stoicism teaches the importance of authenticity. Avoiding conflict often leads to inauthentic interactions, where we hide our true feelings and opinions to maintain a facade of harmony. This inauthenticity can erode trust and respect in relationships, as people sense when others are not being genuine. The Stoics believe that being true to oneself and others is fundamental to living a virtuous life. Authenticity fosters deeper connections and more meaningful resolutions, as it is grounded in honesty and integrity. In addition, the Stoic concept of logos, or rational discourse, underscores the value of engaging in constructive conflict. By applying reason and open-mindedness, we can navigate conflicts in a way that promotes understanding and growth. Constructive conflict can lead to better solutions, innovative ideas, and stronger relationships. It is through rational discourse and the willingness to address issues directly that we can achieve genuine progress and harmony. To incorporate this Stoic perspective into our lives, we can start by reframing our view of conflict. Instead of seeing conflict as inherently negative, we can view it as an opportunity for growth and improvement. We can practice approaching conflicts with a calm and rational mindset, focusing on the principles of justice, courage, and authenticity. By doing so, we uphold the Stoic virtues and create a more honest and productive environment. In conclusion, avoiding necessary conflict out of excessive kindness is contrary to Stoic principles. True Stoic virtue involves facing conflicts with wisdom, courage, and authenticity. By addressing issues directly and constructively, we foster personal growth, uphold justice, and strengthen our relationships. Embracing necessary conflict as a part of life, we align ourselves with the Stoic ideals of living a virtuous and fulfilling life, contributing to a more just and harmonious society. Number 11. Lack of personal growth. Excessive kindness can often impede personal growth, a principle the Stoics emphasized as crucial for leading a fulfilling and virtuous life. According to Stoicism, personal growth is achieved through the continuous practice of virtue, self-reflection, and overcoming challenges. When we focus too much on being kind to others at the expense of our own development, we risk stagnation and fail to realize our true potential. Consider Sophia, a highly empathetic and caring individual. She is always the first to volunteer her time, offer support, and put others' needs before her own. Her friends and family admire her generosity and rely on her for comfort and assistance. However, Sophia's relentless focus on helping others leaves her with little time for herself. She often postpones her own goals and neglects her personal aspirations to ensure that everyone around her is taken care of. Initially, Sophia finds satisfaction in her ability to make a positive impact on others' lives. However, over time, she begins to feel unfulfilled and disconnected from her own desires and potential. Despite her good intentions, her excessive kindness becomes a barrier to her own personal growth. She realizes that she has not invested time in developing her skills, pursuing her passions, or reflecting on her own values and goals. The Stoics, including philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, emphasize the importance of self-improvement and the pursuit of wisdom. They believe that true kindness includes fostering one's own growth and well-being. By neglecting her personal development, Sophia is not practicing true Stoic kindness. Instead, she is sacrificing her potential and well-being, which ultimately diminishes her ability to contribute meaningfully to others. Epictetus, another prominent Stoic philosopher, taught that personal growth comes from facing challenges and engaging in self-reflection. By constantly prioritizing others, Sophia is avoiding the necessary challenges that lead to growth. She is not giving herself the opportunity to learn, adapt, and become stronger. The Stoics believe that adversity is a powerful teacher and that personal growth often comes from overcoming difficulties and reflecting on our experiences. Sophia decides to embrace a more stoic approach to kindness, one that balances helping others with her own personal growth. She starts by setting boundaries and allocating time for self-reflection and self-improvement. For instance, she schedules regular periods for reading, learning new skills, and pursuing her hobbies. She also begins to practice daily reflection, as advocated by the Stoics, to evaluate her actions, thoughts, and progress toward her goals. One day, a friend asks Sophia to help organize a large community event. Previously, she would have immediately agreed, sacrificing her own plans. However, this time she reflects on her current commitments and recognizes that taking on this responsibility would hinder her personal growth. She politely declines, explaining that she has other important priorities to attend to. By doing so, she not only respects her own needs but also sets an example of balanced kindness and self-respect. As Sophia continues to prioritize her personal growth, she notices significant improvements in her overall well-being and effectiveness. She feels more energized, motivated, and capable of offering meaningful support to others. Her relationships become more balanced, as her friends and family begin to understand and respect her boundaries. By fostering her own development, Sophia enhances her ability to contribute positively to the lives of those around her. In conclusion, excessive kindness that neglects personal growth is contrary to Stoic principles. True Stoic virtue involves balancing kindness to others with a commitment to one's own development and well-being. By embracing challenges, engaging in self-reflection, and pursuing personal goals, we cultivate the virtues necessary for a fulfilling life. Sophia's journey illustrates the importance of prioritizing personal growth, demonstrating that true kindness begins with nurturing our own potential. This approach not only enhances our own well-being but also enables us to make a more profound and lasting impact on the world around us. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching. I hope you found today's video on the 11 ways excessive kindness can ruin your life through the lens of Stoic philosophy insightful and empowering. Remember, kindness is a beautiful virtue, but it must be balanced with self-care, authenticity, and personal growth. If you enjoyed this content, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more videos on Stoicism and living a balanced, virtuous life. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences on this topic. How do you balance kindness with self-respect and personal growth? Drop a comment below and let's start a meaningful conversation. Remember, true kindness begins with being kind to yourself. Embrace the wisdom of the Stoics and strive for a life of virtue, balance, and inner peace. Thanks again for watching. Stay wise, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next video.